What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logisticalstyles coming at you with another video. And today we are actually going to do a little switch up today. Normally you know me when I am in the studio, I'm rocking with my Rane 12s and my Numark Scratch. But like my last video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little mix and match of some old equipment and some new equipment, or maybe a mix and match of really some newer equipment. Both of these gears have come out within the past couple of years. But I'm going to do a what if scenario. What if you're at a gig and your main mixer dies and you have your decks with you? What are you going to do? Now, my previous videos, I've talked about how I've used the Akai AMX as my backup mixer, and it's a really great mixer, but it's a little cramped and it's not always what I have with me. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pull out the Numark DJ2Go2 Touch, and we're going to use this in a what if situation where what if my DJ mixer, my Numark Scratch, goes out at a gig? What can I use as a backup, or what can I use as just an alternative? So what we're going to do is, if this was an event I'm working at and my mixer goes out, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my outboard mixer, which is what I have over here to the side. In the studio, I use a Mackie FX Pro FX 8 V2, which is just like a small studio mixer. But when I'm out in the field and I'm doing weddings and events, I usually have my Behringer Xenix mixer. It's a 4-channel, or I also have a 6-channel mixer, which allows me to plug my microphones into it and have a little bit more control over it than using the microphone controls on my mixer or controller. And it also allows me to plug in auxiliary device like my cell phone or MP3 player, which would let me play music in the background while I'm swapping out equipment. So while I've got that music set up and I'm doing that, focus is on replacing this piece of gear. So what I would do is go ahead and disconnect my main outputs, which on this mixer happen to be RCA. I can also use XLR, but I'm using RCA. I disconnect my USB cable. I disconnect my power cable. And I remove the faulty piece of gear. Next, I bring in the Numark DJ2Go2 Touch. Now, there's a couple of things you have to address when you're using this as a replacement. One, this is not the same height as the mixer or the deck, so it's going to be a little bit lower, but that's fine. Secondly, your output is not going to be a pair of RCAs, but rather it will be a 1/4-inch connection, which I also have plugged into a channel on my mixer, my outboard mixer. So this right here is going to be hooked up to your main output. You have also a headphone output right here for your queuing up of music. I'm not going to hook that up because we already know what that does. You won't need this power supply cable because the Numark DJ2Go2 Touch is USB powered. You won't need this particular USB connection because this one is a USB-A connection, I believe, and that goes for like what you would see on a printer or any other hardware. But this particular device uses one of those old school micro USB connections like you would have found on an old BlackBerry or older cellular phone from back in the day. So that's going to be this connection right here. So I plug this in. 1 second. The other end of that cable is going into the USB hub that I mentioned from my previous video, the Triplite USB 3.0 Ultra Slim Hub. It's got 4 ports and allows me to hook up both of my Rane 12s and whatever mixer device I'm using. Previously, this was the USB port for my Numark Scratch. So I swapped it out and put in the Numark DJ2Go here, and this will plug into one single USB port on my laptop. All right. And then from here, you've got all these extra cables you don't need. All you need with each of these devices is a USB cable, and in this case with the controller, you need a little headphone jack to plug out into your mixer or to your speakers. So now once we've got this hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other camera, the overhead, so you can see how this all works. And we'll do some quick mixing and scratching with it so you can see how good of a replacement this can be for a Numark scratch or a basic Serato-enabled mixer, and when you're in a pinch. So let's check this out. Let's switch cameras, and then we will continue from there. Okay, so here we have the setup. This is gonna be a little bit messy, but you can clean up your cables later on once you get everything hooked up. And the way I have it hooked up right now is I'm gonna use, this is the hub that I showed in my last video using the AMX. This is a Triplite 3.0 USB 3.0 USB slimline hub. It's got 4 ports on it. You can connect up to 4 USB devices and use just 1 port on your laptop. And so I'm going to connect my 2 USB leads from my Rane 12s, and then this USB lead coming from the Numark DJ2GO2Touch. And we will have control over deck 1 and 2 using the Rane 12s. We'll also have control using these jog wheels if we want to, but the whole purpose is to not have to use these jog wheels because they're too small and they're inefficient. But we would like to be able to have control over the crossfader, the cue points, be able to switch between pad modes, browse your library, load songs, do instant doubles, use your pitch control, hit sync if you need to, start and stop the decks. These start stop buttons will control the spinning of the Rane 12s. I've already confirmed that. And you've got your headphone jack here if you want to. I'm not going to hook that up. I know it works. I've tested it. You can hear your songs that you queue up using the cue buttons. But I will have my main output connected, my main right here. This is a headphone jack, 3.5 millimeter, that's just going to flow right into my outboard mixer. So let me go ahead and hook all this stuff up, get some music playing, and start using it as the replacement for my Numark Scratch. And you can see how dope it is and kind of why I'm so excited about all this. So give me a second and I will hook this all up. Okay, I hooked it up through the hub. Serato is recognizing the 12s and the Numark device. The decks just showed up. I can spin. Let me go ahead and turn up the volume on the mixer. Let's go here. So if I move my cross. So there you go. I have control from this jog wheel and then also from, let's see, gotta choose my deck. Choose the decks. So both of those, that little jog wheel and this disc, this Rane 12, control deck 1, and the same thing works for deck 2. So same thing, hit play. Deck starts to spin. Hit stop, deck stops. Same thing here. So what I'm going to do is, and you'll notice, this one sounded faster than this one, even though the pitch controls on both decks were the same at 0. They were different because the pitch control on the Numark were drastically different. This was one in the negative zone. This one is in the positive zone. I put them on the same 0, matching up with decks. Now you see they both sound the same. So as you see, both pitch controls will adjust and affect the music. I think it's whichever pitch control slider is the most recently used one, that is the one that will have control over what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put down the mic and then just play around with these two instrumental beats and then just try to jump back and forth, maybe do some scratching, scroll through my library crate. And I'm going to set my decks to the 12 o'clock position, cue up my points, and let's see how this works.
DJ Logic.
All right, so there you have it. I tried to go through all of the little buttons that are available on the DJ2Go2 Touch. As you can see, I still have control over my deck using the little jog wheel. I can use the Rane 12s, which is a better method to manipulate the music. I can browse through using my knob here in the middle. I can jump in and out of crates and in and out of playlists. I can load. I can instant double just by double tapping. I've got control with my mini pitch sliders here, and if I want to jump over to my bigger pitch sliders here, I can use those. I have a sync button. I didn't really mess with the sync button too much, but it works as you would expect it to. Using the pad mode, you can jump in between your cue points, You can do auto looping and manual looping. I don't do a whole lot of that, but the sampler, I definitely showed you how to use the sampler. The crossfader is actually not that bad when you're using it with a full size 12-inch disc. So I actually like using the crossfader with that. The AMX is really skinny, so you don't have a whole lot of room to play around with, and this is nice because you can actually spread your elbows out a little bit while you're using the equipment. So this is a great alternative, and I really think people should look into, just setting this up, using it if you have this equipment. I don't say go out and buy it just because you want to do what you saw on YouTube, but I would definitely say if you have it available, hook it up, see how it works, and it might be a great backup for you compared to what you've already been using. But with that said and done, I'm out. This is a quick video, not really quick. I think this is going to be about 30 minutes or so, but hopefully you learn something from it. And once again, if you do learn, if you do like what you're seeing, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, put a comment. I definitely try to respond to all comments, and let's hit that milestone and keep it growing, get the channel going, and keep on spreading the knowledge. So until then, it's your boy Logistical Styles, and I am out.